Here beginneth the treatise of the boyhood of Jesus, according to Thomas. When Jesus was 5 years old, he took of the clay of a fish pond, and made of it 12 sparrows. And it was the Sabbath when Jesus did this amongst the boys of the Jews. And the boys of the Jews went away, and said to Joseph his father, Behold, thy son was playing along with us. And he took clay, and made sparrows, which it was not lawful to do on the Sabbath, and he has broken it. And Joseph went along to the boy Jesus, and said to him, Why hast thou done this? And Jesus opened his hands, and ordered the sparrows, saying, Go up into the air, and fly, nobody shall kill you. But a Pharisee, who was with Jesus, took an olive branch, and began to let the water out of the fountain which Jesus had made. And when Jesus saw this, he said to him in a rage, Thou impious and ignorant sodomite, what harm have my works, the fountains of water, done thee? Behold, thou shalt become like a dry tree, having neither roots nor leaves nor fruit. And immediately he dried up, and fell to the ground, and died. And his parents took him away dead, and reproached Joseph, saying, See what thy son has done. Teach him to pray, not to blaspheme. And a few days after, as Jesus was walking through the town with Joseph, one of the children ran up and struck Jesus on the arm. And Jesus said to him, So thou shalt not finish thy journey. And immediately he fell to the ground, and died. And those who saw these wonderful things cried out to Joseph, It is not right for such a boy to be among us. And Joseph went and brought him, and they said to him, Go away from this place, but if thou must live with us, teach him to pray, and not to blaspheme. Our children have been killed. Joseph called Jesus, and reproved him, saying, Why dost thou blaspheme? For these people who live here hate us. And Jesus said, I know that these words are not mine, but thine. But I will hold my tongue for thy sake, and let them see to it in their wisdom. And immediately those who were speaking against Jesus became blind. And Joseph, seeing what Jesus had done, in a fury seized him by the ear. And Jesus said to Joseph in anger, It is enough for thee to see me, not to touch me, for thou knowest not who I am. But if thou didst know, thou wouldst not make me angry. And although just now I am with thee, I was made before thee. One day, when Jesus was climbing on a certain house along with the children, he began to play with them. And one of the boys fell down through a back door and died immediately. And when the children saw this, they all ran away. But Jesus remained in the house. And when the parents of the boy who had died had come, they spoke against Jesus. Surely it was him that made him fall down, and they reviled him. And Jesus, coming down from the house, stood over the dead child, and with a loud voice called out the name of the child. Sinu, Sinu, rise and say whether it was I that made thee fall down. And suddenly he rose up and said, No, my Lord. And his parents, seeing such a great miracle done by Jesus, glorified God and adored Jesus. And Joseph, seeing that he had such favor, and that he was increasing in stature, thought it right to take him to learn his letters. And he handed him over to another teacher to be taught. But Jesus was silent, and made him no answer. Jesus said to the master, If thou art indeed a master, and if indeed thou knowest the letters, tell me the power of the A, and I shall tell thee the power of the B. Then his master was filled with fury, and struck him on the head. And Jesus was angry, and cursed him. And suddenly he fell down, and died. And Jesus returned home. And Joseph gave orders to Mary, his mother, not to let him go out of the court of the house. And Jesus himself turned unto the Jews, and said to them, Now let all them that see not see, and let them understand which understand not, and let the deaf hear, and let them arise which have died by my means. And when the child Jesus ceased speaking, all the afflicted were made whole, as many as had been afflicted by his word. And they durst not speak to him, and no man after that durst provoke him, lest he should curse him, and he should be maimed.